This is Ed Lawrence with Colliers International. I'm going to be interviewing Mayor Ed Gainey. He's the 61st mayor of the city of Pittsburgh, and this will be incorporated into our Q2 2023 newsletter. Mayor Gainey, thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate it. And like I said, thanks for your efforts in revitalizing downtown Pittsburgh. We know that there have been challenges like other cities across the country, and we appreciate the efforts of you and your team. And along those lines, we realize that it really is truly a team effort and a partnership among groups downtown. Could you explain your relationship with groups like the Pittsburgh Downtown Partnership, the Pittsburgh Regional Alliance, and others, and how you work with them?
Yeah, first and foremost, Mr. Lawrence, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Have an opportunity to be able to speak to you. Downtown is very important. We see downtown as the living room to our city. And if you want people to feel like they're at home, then your downtown corridor has to be extremely safe. Coming into office, we were coming straight out of the pandemic. And coming out of the pandemic, we received everything that comes with the pandemic. And one of the items that we talked about is how systemically we make downtown South safe again. And so the three visions, the pillars that we ran on was creating a safe, welcoming, and thriving city. And part of doing that is building relationships with external entities to help us get there, particularly downtown. Pittsburgh Downtown Partnership has been phenomenal. They've done a terrific job, as well as the Downtown Neighborhood Association, as well as the conference and everybody else, and helping us to craft a new downtown. Coming out of a pandemic, we ran into a lot coming in. One, an increase in crime that was happening all across America, an increase in homelessness that was happening all across America, and also just an increase in the morale of a city that was going on coming out of a pandemic with mental health and the epidemic of drugs running rampant. So to have these relationships was critical to build because, as you know, it wasn't in place when we arrived here. It was something we had to start to build. So, joining with the Pittsburgh Downtown Partnership allowed us to go out and bring 600,000 back from the state, 1.6 million, but 600,000 to go to an ambassadors program that really took off. And we still have to add more people to the downtown, to the ambassadors program when you look at the footprint of downtown, and really continue to talk about how we make downtown safe. So working with the Pittsburgh Downtown Partnership, that really flourished for us. Also having stakeholders meetings to let people know what was going on. And what we promised people was that we're not going to change downtown overnight, because we didn't get here overnight. The things that I'm proud of today that we stand on, and listen, we got a long way to go. But there's no microwave meals in changing the culture of things. But to be able to come here and say that we citywide, from violent crime, we were down 31%. So when we came in a year ago, we're cleaning downtown twice a year, which has been great. The clean team from the Pittsburgh Downtown Partnership has been an amazing partner. We still need more workers downtown, adding police downtown to make people feel safe. The promise was that once it was my budget, that the first thing we would do was increase police patrol. The first budget we had, as you know, was not my budget. It was the previous administration, and that line item wasn't in place. But to be able to have a budget and put more police officers on the street, walking the street, building relationship. The Smithfield, the closing of the Smithfield shelter, I think, was a significant one. I mean, a lot of people say, well, it took so long. I don't think it did. I think that if you didn't have legitimate places for people to go, then they would be right in the street. And if we wanted to keep them out of the street, then there had to be places for them to go. We knew that we would have a hard 20 to 25 that just wouldn't leave. That's in any condition, and we're working to be able to work with them. And Mr. Lawrence, I'll tell you something else. Out of that 20 to 25, some of them that we know that have been in the military, whatever happened overseas, they're never going to live in a building. They're going to live on the streets forever. So you're always going to have a remnant of homelessness that's in your city. But in terms of where we were when we took over to where we are right now, it's been a change. And we still, like I said, it's an improvement. It's not the finality for final. Well, even an article that came out yesterday talking about all the events we've had downtown in this city, the great responses we're getting from people saying, we love this city. The city was beautiful for us. We came here, they felt safe. So when you start seeing, I'm talking about over what 1 million people came through this city,
Yeah.
telling us they feel safe, spending money, cultural district, the crowds are back, restaurant sales are up. The reality is there's a reason why they're not coming back in the daytime. And I think from a corporate setting, we're going to have to start talking about the reality that some people are not coming back to work.
Right. No, that's exactly correct. And as you know, based on what we do at Colliers as a commercial real estate firm, we have a vested interest in having more folks come into work as well. We're a tenant at 525 William Penn Place. So, our brokers and our support staff come in 5 days a week. We
Wow.
realize that can't be a reality for every company. We do understand the positive nature in some instances of a work from home environment, but we're hoping it moves more to a hybrid environment and folks can at least come in 3 or 4 days a week because
Yeah, I
the
think, look,
downtown depends on that.
yeah, I just got back from Philadelphia, and one of the things
Mhm.
when I was meeting with Comcast is that they're still, they're moving to a 4 day a week work. Not, I mean, you still got to work 5 days a week, but they're working towards a 4 day a week work, in the office, and I think that's a positive. I
Right.
think that's beginning to make progress. The reality is the
Yeah.
downtowns, major metropolitan downtowns are going to have a change. We understand that right now, a lot of these buildings that was in use 25, 30, 40 years ago are no longer in use no more. We have to determine
Right.
what we're going to do with those buildings. We also know coming out of a pandemic, what's been demonstrated and expressed is that people will come downtown to be entertained. So the reality is, how do we create that vibe of downtown being an entertainment zone? Meaning that some of these buildings we may have to turn into green spaces. There's a lot of options
Right.
out there, but the reality is government shouldn't push those options. Government should be part of it. We should be
Right.
working with our corporate partners to find out what that looks like, because it's their assets that we really want to see appreciate. And in order to do that, they should be part of the movement to create a plan for downtown. And I believe that's happening now.
Yeah, agreed. And would you have office buildings, the former GNC headquarters, 3 Gateway Center, the Gulf Tower, just to name a few, being converted to apartments. Obviously, it's important to have that resilient downtown and something that's going to be welcoming to tenants in those newly developed apartments over the next 3 years. And along those lines, you talked about the additional police force that we see that our employees have noticed downtown. What about the ambassador program? I think that you launched in March. How is that going? And do you have any other plans along those lines in the future,
Yeah,
Mayor?
the ambassadors program has been great. I mean, the feedback that we're hearing is that people are pleased with it. But we do understand that we don't have enough. We
Right.
don't have enough. We understand that, and we understand that we got to work with them. We got to work with our partners downtown to ensure that we have more ambassadors on the street, and how we get the funding to be able to do that. We understand that they're important, and not only them, also the clean team. Like the city's going to do our part. We started cleaning downtown 3 days a week with the amount of people that's downtown. It's funny, the amount of people coming down in the evening, even cleaning it 3 times a week. At the end of the day, it doesn't seem to be enough.
Yeah.
You can see an improvement, but we still got alleys we got to deal with. We still got
Right.
private garbage we got to deal with. That we need to be working with our corporate partners to be able to deal with that. So we still have some challenges, but the number one for us was to drive down violent crime downtown.
Right.
And we're succeeding there. 2 was to reduce the amount of homelessness. We're succeeding there. Now, I think people wanted to just go away overnight. Mr. Lawrence, I'm gonna be honest, these problems was here way before the pandemic.
Yeah.
What the pandemic did was just expose the fact that no one ever dealt with these issues. So now that it wasn't dealt with and we were able to sweep it under the rug to where it wasn't noticed, now everybody wants to say, well, where'd all these issues come from? The reality, it was already here. It just got exposed through the pandemic. And Mr. Lawrence, when we took office, there was no plan for the homeless. There was no plan for violence. All that you see going on right now is what we created, because we were able to listen to the corporate partners downtown, discover what they're asking for, and ask them, listen, we can't do it right now. We don't have the budget. It's not in the line item. Wait until our first budget. You'll see more police, which we did. You'll see more DPW, Department of Public Works, being able to clean downtown, which we did. You'll see a better improvement in our public asset spots. And we still have to think about how we reinvent our public asset spots, such as Mellon Square and Market Square. If we want this to be a place where entertainment thrives, we have to make sure that our private assets, such as our parks downtown, are suited for that. So that's one of the things that we're working on, and we're having a great relationship with the conference, Stephanie Pashman, and them to ensure that things are moving forward.
That's great. And I know we're just getting to know each other, but those who know me know that I'm an optimist typically. And I told you I wanted to keep this as positive as possible. Obviously, there's been a lot of negative press out there. And I think that what you're saying, seems to make sense. I guess we could end it on this note, if that's okay, Mayor. From a business standpoint, what do you think are the key attributes specific to Pittsburgh and our downtown area that you think will help us to get to where we want to be in terms of your goals? And then secondly, how can the private sector assist in that those attempts? How can the private sector help you to get where you want the city to be?
Well, I think when we just talk about the stakeholders that have a stake downtown, right?
Right.
We can talk about our corporate partners, but we also know that public schools, the private schools, they play a big role. PRT plays a big role. Everyone that has a stake downtown, because some of their constituents either come downtown, work downtown, live downtown, or transfer downtown. We have to make sure that we have everybody together to talk about how we keep downtown safe. That's number one. Number two is that from a public point of view, we have to continue to make sure that we have the right amount of police officers walking downtown, patrolling downtown, and also building the proper relationships. Third, from the corporate perspective, is the ability to be our eyes and ears so we know what's going on, but also to understand that times have changed. This is not 1970. This is not the 1970 downtown that people are going to remember. Just by the nature of development, the times have changed, and we have to continue to work together to talk about not what downtown used to be. What's downtown going to be there for the next 40 or 50 years? And so when we talk about the private sector, it's continuing to lay, hey, this is what we have to do to polish the assets that we have, because government alone can't do it. It's just too much. What we need is the help of everybody. When you talk about other cities and you see how they're coming together with the government, the foundation, philanthropy, corporate partners, to really have a conversation about what makes a robust downtown. It's not one entity driving it. It's a team of collaborative people that understand what's at stake, and they're going to do what's necessary to polish their downtown so that people can make it feel like home. We still got a long way to go. I'm going to be honest. And that's a positive for us, right? Like, I don't control health and human service money, so I really don't control that homeless money. I don't. But I can't look at it that way. The way we had to look at it is, how do we build a working relationship with Allegheny County government, who does, to ensure that we're walking the same path so that everybody knows what's going on. That is critical. So as we do this and as we continue to build out and have these type of relationship building sessions, I believe that you will see a new and improved downtown. And like I said, it's not going to happen. Nothing develops overnight. It all takes time. But let me say this. Anybody that's paid attention to the last year and a half, and you've heard me saying, let me reiterate this, we are not there yet. There yet. And so I'm admitting that we are not there yet. However, I'm also admitting that there has been progress that has been made, and it's been visible. Because if not, there's no way you have 1.5 million people come through your city and they tell you they had a great time. And there's no way that you have the scariest time in urban living is nightlife. And all nightlife is booming. It's booming. And so seeing that shows that if people feel safe at night, I know they can feel safe in the daytime. It's no question. But we have to come to a reality. And this is where we as a community really have to come together. The question is, we understand perception of why people are using the fact that they don't come back to work. But the reality is, in a world where everything was great, which we will never have, the pandemic made it that if I can do my job from home, if I can cut childcare costs, if I can cut transportation costs, if I can cut my lunch costs, if I can get out of bed and not have to worry about just having an hour break and 15-minute breaks, and I am still productive at my job, sitting behind a laptop at home at my kitchen table, why should I go back to work? Why should I go back to the office when so many other corporate partners are offering me the ability to work from home? And not only that, I've expanded myself now. Now I'm a consultant and I got 2 or 3 contracts in state and out of state of doing the work that I do for my employer right now? Those are the questions we have to really ask, because right now, the one thing the pandemic did was incentivize work from home.
No, I understand. And what we typically say in our marketplace, Mayor, is there's other intangibles that you know, being in a work environment with other people around you in terms of, you know, mentoring new employees, getting acclimated with an industry, building a culture. So I understand what you're saying. And it's a much larger conversation. Maybe we can have over a coffee sometime.
Yeah.
But
I tell you what I told my daughter. My daughter just went back to work after 6 months. And here's what I told her. Because I know that if you're 18 years old right now, you're looking at what my daughter's age is doing, which is 27. And if they're at home and they're comfortable staying home, then that wave doesn't get weaker, it gets stronger. But what I told my daughter is that if you want to, you know, I love you. That's one, I love my daughter. If you can make money at home behind a laptop, and this is what you want to do for your profession, I can't be upset with you. Who am I to tell you how to make money if the market calls for it? All you're doing is doing. But if you ever want to be CEO, if you ever want to be president, if you ever want promoted, you can't do that behind a laptop. You have to go to the office, because the one thing a laptop can't show you is how to lead people and how to deal with a diverse population and how to have conversations that are uncomfortable and how to make sure that you're not forcing people to follow you, but they've given you permission to follow you so that you can continue to grow your skill set when it comes to people. So if you want to be president, if you want to be CEO, then let's not talk about what you can do with life behind a laptop. Let's talk about what you got to do to learn to lead people in an office.
I totally agree. And just one last point I'll make along those lines, Mayor, is that with the advent of artificial intelligence and some folks out there worried about their jobs being eliminated and so forth, I'll tell you what, if I was starting out my career, I would want to be in the office to make sure that my manager knows that it's tough to replace me.
Well, and I'm going to be honest, Mr. Lawrence, I'm going to steal that, all right? So I'm just going to let you know right now, you'll probably hear that in one of my speeches. With the advancement of AI, it is even more important that you're in the office. And I might flip it a little bit to put a little bit more into it, but I think that is a great example of why, with technology taking off, you don't want to be forgotten.
Right. We're on the same page with that. So, well, great. Well, listen, I've really enjoyed the conversation and discussion, Mayor. On behalf of Colliers International, we thank you for your time.
Hey, I appreciate this opportunity.
Yeah, really appreciate it. Have a great weekend and take care, Mayor.
Hey, have a great weekend. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right.